Hello and welcome to another edition of Happenings.
It really is all about and bringing the community to the school.
In the schools, developing relationships with students, with parents. No, we just taped a show on that.
You know, there are a few cities in this state that have traditions that last 20, 30, 40 years. Here in Dearborn, we're very fortunate. We have a parade that's been around for 80, 90 years, and we also have an incredible tradition that dates way back, even older than I am, believe it or not. Goes back over 60 years, and we're going to talk about that today. But first, joining us, as always, Dr. Maleyko.
How you doing, Dave?
Good. How are you?
Good, doing well. I can attest to that age thing because the last 2 years, I've actually, at the City Beautiful breakfast that they hold in November,
right.
I've met some of my former students who their child is now a City Beautiful junior commissioner.
That's right.
So that means I've been around for quite a while.
You get that cycle going.
Yes, yeah.
That's
but
right.
It's actually neat as well to see former students of mine that are now successful and they have children and now they're doing the same thing with the City Beautiful Commission and other things just in the district and around the city. So
absolutely. Well, let's get right to our guests who are going to be able to talk to us a little bit today about the City Beautiful program that's, like I said, been going on here in Dearborn for a long, long time. And it's been a great partnership, one of those great partnership programs between the cities and the schools. So, ladies, tell us a little bit about what's been going on.
Okay. I'm Irene Watts. I'm the chair of the school committee and now the vice chair of the the City Beautiful Commission. So that is my role with both.
I'm Kathleen McCormick. I teach at Henry Ford Elementary. I'm the STEM teacher there, and I'm involved because our school participates in the amazing alternative to the parade.
So Irene, what does it involve, City Beautiful? I know a lot of people in Dearborn may be aware of it, but just for the public or people outside of Dearborn, what is this all about?
So City Beautiful's been around, like you said, forever. So City Beautiful has three main roles, or subcommittees per se. So there's neighborhoods. So we have commissioners who, maybe have a particular interest in the neighborhoods and maybe gardening. So you can select to either be on the neighborhood subcommittee, the schools, or businesses. So during the summer, we'll go through each district and all the homes will be judged. And we'll pick out those that maybe just stick out for the incredible landscaping, overall curb appeal. And then we do the same thing with the businesses. And then the schools are particularly interesting because we do the parades. So every elementary school in Dearborn is eligible for a school parade, and it's on a 3-year rotation. And then a few years ago, we introduced something that was called the alternative programs, whereas, for instance, if a parade didn't interest you maybe that particular spring, but you wanted to do something like an assembly or a science fair, that was an option that was then floated out. And you were saying that you guys at Henry Ford have really enjoyed that option.
Oh yeah, we've been on board with that program. In fact, we haven't done a cleanup parade since the new alternative program became eligible, because while we love the cleanup parade and the tradition of it, the new program really helps you do a year-long event. So, and allows your students an opportunity to become leaders in the school because they run all the programs.
Well, and that's one of the reasons I asked you on the show, because I knew some of the program. A couple of years ago, I was there to plant. We were planting in the garden. You've been outside. You've been inside. You've had your recycling and or water reduction consumption.
Good memory.
Plastic bottles, different things. So I do, yeah. And I don't know, but when we met, I mentioned her name right away when we were talking about it. So there's a component here. Schools, the city's involved as well, right?
Yes. So anything that we can do to collaborate, and I always feel like Dearborn, everyone knows one another. It's a 1 degree of separation. But here, it's the collaboration between the schools, the businesses, the neighborhoods that really make us a community. And I always say, you start at the home, you expand to the neighborhood, to the street, to your block, to your neighborhood association, and it goes out from there. So whatever we can do to maintain that, but also to get the students involved. And so, at some of the breakfasts, I had some of the students stand up and tell me what their goals were. As junior commissioners, what is your goal for this school year? And they had some great ideas. Especially with their being right on the spot.
Sure, yeah.
But things that they can think about, so when they're going throughout the whole school year, and like you were saying, you can expand and say, okay, what are some of the objectives that we have for the school year? And how can we involve the junior commissioners? And what do they have as leaders, as junior commissioners, that they can go ahead and say, like, this is our goal. How do we make that happen? How does that look for our school? And every school has different demands and needs or desires and goals. So it's very, it's open-ended in terms of how you want that to look in your school, whether or not it's the water bottles that you guys had started a few years ago, whether it was, a cleanup parade. Every kid loves the cleanup parade. I mean, I remember my little girl, she was 3 at the time, and she had the little sash, but she loved, marching in the parade at Lindbergh for that when my son was there. But whether it's a science fair, so again, it's something where you can fit towards your school's goals when it comes to STEM or science.
Well, and I too, as a young Dearborn Public Schools student many years ago, walked in the parade over at Duval and always looked forward to it. But then at that point, the focus was a lot of clean up, paint up, fix up. And it was more of a message, trying to get a message out to the community. Hey, it's spring, so let's get our houses looking nice. But I really think that where this is going and the direction that it goes in now really has a lot more meaning for the students. And we've really expanded that to that reuse, recycle, and there you go, reduce, reuse, recycle, and just bringing more of that sense of good stewardship of the environment. And, we don't have to get all tree huggy here and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But I think that all of us have that responsibility to be good stewards of our environment. And I think this is an excellent way. Kathleen, I'm sure you can speak of that on the school level, how that really connects for the students and brings that message home.
Right. So what I really love about the program is that each child and each year, our goals are different because they have different ideas. So while our overreaching thing is reduce, reuse, recycle, they bring in other things. So for example, this year, we have a lot of different programs compared to the ones you named off. So this year, my students are working on 3 main projects along with some mini projects through the year. One of the big main projects is how to upcycle things. So it's really cool because we're doing cross-curricular projects with that. So in my STEM class, a lot of the families are donating items to use in my STEM class, and we're upcycling them. So we built parachutes out of material that was donated by families that was just scrap material around their house, or sheets or pillowcases. Right now we're doing bobsleds for the Olympics out of donated materials. And then the art teacher also has been using a lot of the donated materials, and she's doing upcycle sculptures that are actually going to be highlighted in the district art show. And that's one of the big projects. Another big project is our students are videotaping a skit about why we should recycle, because we get new staff and new students each year, and why do we have these green bins from the city at our school, and what is their importance, and what's our function when we use those. So we're pretty excited because we're almost done and ready for taping. And that's going to lead us into our largest project of the year, which is our end of the year Green School program that tracks how we've been doing it all year long. One of our biggest challenges this year was the change in the recycling company and the changes of what can go in the bin. So for example, the biggest change was you can no longer put plastic bags in, and you used to be able to. So we're finding a lot of error in our recycle bins, and we're working on that with the video and some posters that will be distributed once we have our big assembly. And then we'll end with our Green School program, which you'll be attending. And the kids will run the program again, which I think it just gives them so many opportunities to take responsibility and be a contributor to the community and make their community better, but also have a little fun along the way with our gardening or our recycling or writing and filming their own video.
And I would just say, with what you're doing there, it's helping as we've moved on a partnership in recycling with the city, which we finally got full district-wide going.
Yeah.
That partnership, we've been trying to work on that for years, but what has helped is your program with the City Beautiful has gotten students accustomed to that. And so that has actually helped with the implementation, because as you're saying, and I'm really interested to see this video, because that was one of the things the mayor had talked to me about going back almost 3 years ago now when I first became superintendent. If we want to get this going, one of the things and why they really want to partner with the schools is because the students can really help as to what, help guiding their parents actually as to what things should go and should not. And so by getting them involved, then they understand it. And so I am really interested in that, the video, and so I'd say the whole City Beautiful Commission. One thing I do have to mention, which got me really into the, the green water bottles and that from that time. I'll just kind of mention this. I think he was being very hospitable, but Dr. Mugni came over and he was offering everybody water. So I'm up on the stage and someone comes, we shouldn't be using plastic bottles. So I quickly went like this and put it in my suit pocket as it was hot in the gymnasium. But it resonated with me. It was a teaching moment. And from then, guess what? I use green bottles.
You noticed that at our next thing, I provided the water bottles to the guests so that they were reusable water bottles, and he was very well intentioned.
But I got to joke with him a little bit on that one, so I didn't let him down.
So did I.
So anyway, we got to have a little bit of fun.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, we all have those moments. So.
But we do appreciate the great work the City Beautiful Commission
anything that we can do to help with the schools and with the students so they can feel like they're part of the community is great. So.
And where do you see your role going as far as because like you said, this is more than just the schools; it's the business community as well and the neighborhoods as well. So, what do you see the direction as far as from the city's perspective and the City Beautiful Commission's perspective?
Right. So I'm always I'm a fellow teacher, so I'm always looking for opportunities. Where can we do more? There's always opportunities where okay, maybe we did it, but I think we can do some more.
Sure.
Why can't we? The students are eager, right? Like you said, you have video, so you have some learners who are maybe more visual, audio, and whatnot. So I'm always looking for what else can we do. So I think some of the things that we've been doing, and we were talking about this earlier, is in 2015 we introduced a grant program. So for those schools that in lieu of doing a cleanup parade that year, if they were eligible, if they were not eligible, but the grant program provided funds if you were approved, and you could use those funds in. So I believe you guys used your funds for the water bottles that year. So this year, what I really wanted to do is I wanted to bring that back. And so I think we had some discussions about that. And so this spring, we're going to bring that grant back. And actually, the grants are going to be emailed out, I believe, either this week or next week. So I just did the final revisions with that. But the schools that are eligible for the grants include all of the elementary schools, along with the middle school and high school. Because the cleanup parades are great because it includes the elementary schools, but then the middle schools and high schoolers are not eligible for that.
Sure.
So this grant program extends and includes the middle schoolers and the high schoolers. And again, their needs are going to be different than an elementary school as well. So along with the city and the cooperation with the mayor, and along with Dr. Maleyko and the Dearborn School Foundation, we've been able to have up to $900 per grant.
Wow,
for the schools.
Nice. That's a nice little...
And I think this spring we'll have probably a few of the schools. We'll send out those invitations. And I know that, lesson plans have already been created, but it's something to think about because ideally I want it to be able to have a fall grant and then a spring grant. So, if this year it's just not enough time to be able to get that grant in, but something to think about when you come back to school and say, thinking about long-term programs, what can these funds do and how can you use those funds to be able to accommodate your objectives throughout the whole school year for 2018-19 going forward. And I know that Superintendent Whiston was talking about how he wants the state of Michigan to be the top 10 in 10 years. So I'm hoping that Dearborn can do their part, and hopefully these funds can help maybe expand and get some of those resources that we can provide for the students. So ideally, that is my plan. So going forward,
that's a great plan.
Yeah.
I think that creates some excitement and some buy-in for the students.
I mean, I want to be able to get that grant.
I know, I've already got my wheels turning over.
But they excite, just to be able to see the kids. And I know that the kids love anything to do with science and recycle, but anything that we could do to help, especially those junior commissioners who had those ideas, to be able to incorporate that, but they have to come up with a budget. So there's a lot involved with the grant, but I think if it's student-led, with teachers that can help moderate and help put in their input, but it's really for the students to be able to say that, this is our goal and this is what we can do to help improve our school. So we're excited.
That's great. That's great. It's great to see traditions continue, but it's also great to see those traditions evolve to meet the needs of the time.
Yes,
as well.
definitely.
So thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks
both.
for having us.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Another
you.
one. Thank you.
Wow.
I'm very thankful
another
to you,
one.
David.
We're all wrapped
Grateful,
up here.
yeah.
I told you this was going to be a beautiful show, right? We were
Yes,
talking
you
about
did.
a beautiful topic, and we had a beautiful show here today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you, everybody, for stopping by and checking in with us. And, all of that, all of these great fun activities for the City Beautiful all take place in May,
Yes.
correct? During the month of May. So, you can stop by your local elementary school, whether it be to watch one of the few parades that still happen, or come by one of these special events that they do as well and just watch what the kids are doing. It's always fun. Remember, you want to stop by, you want to be part of it, you want to be part of the action that's going on all around our district, because there's always a lot happening right here in the Dearborn Public Schools.